Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the building a mobile weather app in Apri.io. In the last video, or the first part, we got all the way up to defining a REST service. So what we want to do right now is define the REST service. So you should be on, let's see, we were at the secure proxy. We just copied the proxy ID to a notepad. Now what we have to do is create a service to connect the weather REST service. So we go to the Apri.io app builder. See, we click on apps. And we would like to open up our weather app. Now, to create a new service, we go to the Create New drop-down menu on the left and check Service. And we want to rename the service to, delete that, Get Weather. And click Create Service, leave the defaults. Now for the settings, we want to leave Get Weather, but the service URL we want to cut and paste from the instructions. So we're going to go to our instructions, scroll down, and highlight the URL. So I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to paste it so you can see it. So Control C, go to the URL, Control V. So as you can see, it's api.worldweatheronline.com right here. So you can copy that or pause it. And we want to leave the defaults except for the use Apri.io proxy. We want to select secure proxy. Now, you may not have secure proxy showing, but you did create it. So what I learned from creating the app originally is if it doesn't show, you have to click this refresh button right here. It's going to requery and it's going to make sure that you have it. So by clicking that, it's going to look again and then you should be able to see it. So it's these this circular arrows right here, refresh proxy list. So select secure proxy, and you want to make sure that this box is checked. If it's not, then it won't connect. I made that mistake before, so it's good like that. And what we have to do next is define the service inputs. So we open the request panel right here below settings. What we do first is type Q. That's going to represent zip code in the input field and click add. Then type format. And click add. And then type key. And click add. Now for format, we want to enter JSON as the default value. So we type JSON. For key, we want to type, the instructions say we do curly bracket, weather, key, curly bracket. And we don't do anything for Q, we leave that value blank. The next thing we have to do is test the service, so we go to the test tab and enter any zip code for Q. So in this case, I'm going to use the UH zip code 96822. And for the key value, instead of the weather key, we want to delete that, and we want to use the API key. And that was the one from, let's see, one moment. That was from the weather, let's see, World Weather Online. So we need to go back to that. That was this one right here. I'm going to highlight that again. Control C. Drop it back here. And I'm going to just paste it right in here. Okay, and then click test, and the result should look something like okay, one moment. Okay, so I ran into an error you saw on the screen. What I'm going to try to do is test it again, because I haven't imported as response. If I don't, it may be fine. It may, just create an error. It could be a network problem. So I'm going to leave the defaults again, the key and the thing, and I'm going to click test again. Okay, so that time it didn't mess up. Sometimes it's just a network connection, if you're over like Wi-Fi or even a wired connection. This is sort of what it should look like according to the instructions. It has all the different parameters, I guess. These are the test results. Again, returns a large number of parameters. We're only going to focus on a few of them, but we're going to import all of them just for efficiency. So we click import as response, and it will automatically create the service response based on all of the parameters presented in the sample tests. Then you should see service response created successfully. Go to the response tab, where all response parameters are listed. As you can see, these are everything that's being returned from that Get Weather API, or the one from the online weather service that we signed up for. We're only going to focus on a couple, I think, maybe the temperature. So to do this, we have to close this first. So we're going to close this Get Weather Service Editor and go to the Start screen or your Weather app main screen and click on the Data tab. So right here, you're on Design right now. Design View, go to Data. From the drop-down menu, select Service. So we're going to add a data source. It's going to be Service. And then Get Weather is the only one, I believe. You may have more because you're doing a multiple page app. Click Add. and we're going to map the user interface and service now. So we're going to rename this new REST service to weather, and click before send mapping. So here's before send mapping. And we're going to map it using the page on this side and service request on this side. So we just expand all. And we're going to focus on the zip code input. So on the left, look for zip code input text. And on the right, look for query Q, because remember that was our zip code. So zip code input text to query Q. And click mapping for success event. I think all we have to do is save and return. So save and return, and then mapping. Let's minimize the events tab. We want success mapping next. And what we do is expand all on both sides to show service response and the page on this side. So these are everything coming from the API, and then this is everything on our page. We want to map temperature F, Fahrenheit, to temperature text. So let's scroll down over here a little bit, see temperature text. So temperature Fahrenheit to temperature text. And weather icon, we'll scroll down on the left, look for weather icon URL. This is the picture that's going to be displayed. We want the one value, and we want to link it to icon asset. As you can remember, icon asset was our image. So weather icon URL hard bracket I value, so it's the one right below, to icon asset. And then click save and return. Okay. So now we've done the before send and success mapping. What we need to do now is create an event. This tab right here, we click on that. And we want to create a new event. It's going to be using the component weather. It's going to be a success mapping. And then instead of select action, we want set property. And the component name is icon. The property name is visible. And the value is true. I believe this probably is for the image that's going to be displayed, representing what kind of weather it is. Click save. And we also have to define an action to invoke the service. So we go to the design tab of the start screen or your weather app main page, and then open the events view. So we're over here, and then if you go down to the events, you click on that, and you select the button component. You can either click on it here, let's see, click on the get weather, or you can just click on this right here. And we want to select the button component. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it's mobile button 4. Let's just click on it. So click on the get weather, and then click on the events, and it's mobile button 4. And then we want to click. We want invoke service, so the action is invoke service. And then weather. The data source is weather. You may have more than one, but we want weather. Click save. Okay, and then we can test our app. So I'm going to minimize this. Now we're ready to test it. Again, if in order to test it, if you have the home page, what you need to do, if you've set your home page as what loads in your app, then you have to create events to link your home page to this actual app, and also back if you want to see the full functionality. All that requires is clicking on the item and then creating an event that navigates to the page. So when you're ready, we'll click save. Don't forget to save, and then test. So what you do is you just enter a zip code. We'll choose the one by UH 96822, and then click Get Weather. As you can see, it displays the weather currently. It's about 76 degrees at UH Manoa, and nighttime and cool, cloudy. Now you can also add functionality in terms of a back button, to navigate between. But that's the extent of this app. I'm going to go back to this page, and it's always important to back up your program. So it's already saved. We can go ahead and close it. And I'll show you how to back it up really fast. When you have the app that you want selected, you can rename it, you can test it, you can open it, or you can back it up. So click backup, and then it's a zip file, and you can open it or save it. I usually just save it to my desktop. You can put it on a thumb drive or even upload it to the cloud. What you can do then is, when you want to create a new app, you create the app from a backup, and the backup, you just select that and then input it. So thank you very much for watching.